Elliotte just dropped his phone down. He's finally going to pay attention to the show here. It's time for the Saturday headlines on Hockey Night in Canada in the second intermission. And Elliotte, you saw the conversation we had in the first intermission and the idea that Jacob Trouba, was he blackmailed with the threat of waivers to get him to surrender his no trade? Where are you at?
You know, I have to say that, in terms of conversation among players, what happened with Trouba on Friday that whole day was probably as much as just chatting around to the players I do talk to, very interested in that. Like some of the agents said they had more contact with their players than they have on most other topics than they had on this one. And, you know, one of the things that people kind of talked about, these players felt very strongly that maybe there should be a streamlining of the protection process. The Rangers, by the letter of the law, did nothing wrong. Jacob Trouba had no trade protection to some teams, but he did not have no move protection, so he should go on waivers. But what bothered the players, I think to a large degree, was if you can't be traded to certain teams, why should you be allowed to go to those teams on waivers? And I think what they're going to ask the Players Association to do is have a conversation in the upcoming CBA negotiations maybe there should just be one form of protection where you either say, I'm protected and I can't go anywhere, or if you want to give me partial protection, then I can't go to this team at all. It shouldn't be a trade or it shouldn't be waivers. I can just say, these are the teams I'll go to or these are the teams I can't, whatever protection a team wants to give. So I don't know if that's going to be the future, but I can see where the players ask the Players Association to pursue that in the next CBA because they just didn't like the loophole that was exploited here.
And you were telling me teams might also say, okay, we'll give you this trade list, but
there was one player this year a couple guys told me that in his negotiation with the team, when he signed an extension, he got some trade protection, but he agreed that if there was an expansion draft, he would be agreeing to expose himself to that. So that's a new one too.
Shesterkin.
Yes, so today formally announced, broken yesterday, and today it formally announced that Igor Shesterkin has an 8-year deal with the New York Rangers, the biggest contract ever for a goalie. It's $92 million, an AAV of 11.5, but $85 million of that in bonuses, and pursuant to the conversation we just had, a full no-move clause for the entirety of the deal. It's a win-win-win. The Rangers get their guy done at the end of a heavy week. Shesterkin stays in New York, which he wanted to do. So it worked out for everybody, but it's a big, big, big deal, and it raises the bar for goaltenders in the NHL.
Heavy is the word you used with Kyle Bukauskas on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, and you talked more about heavy, heavy games Thursday night and the situations in Detroit and Buffalo and Chicago, and now we're watching the Nashville Predators. It's ongoing, and you can tie that into Ottawa, and their side of it is noise around Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah, so it's just like watching Nashville again tonight, the way it's going for them. You just want I think Barry Trotz really is trying to be as patient as possible and not do anything that he regrets. I just wonder if he's going to be backed into a corner with what we're seeing. But, you know, with Brady Tkachuk, the report in the New York Post about the Rangers making an offer for him, I'll say this. I think the Senators are very, very confident. He's signed for 3 more seasons, and I think they're very, very confident that that is going to play out to the full end of the contract. The one thing I do think, Ron, is that the Senators and their fans are probably just going to have to live with some noise. That is the way it goes, and whenever a team battles to try to get into the playoffs and doesn't get there, there's always going to be questions about, is this player going to be happy or is this player not going to be happy? And I don't think the Senators can respond to every rumor, but I do think the overall feeling is they're very confident that he's going to stay.
Last
stay.
Tidbits would be JT Miller and Trevor Zegras.
Yeah, so JT Miller, I think we're obviously getting closer. I think there is a plan here, as Rick Talk had said. But the one thing, Jim Rutherford said it publicly, and now I'm also hearing it privately. You know, one of the things the Canucks are really doing here is telling teams, whether out in the open or in conversations, this is not about trading JT Miller. This is not about finding a new home for him. And when he comes back, he's going to play for Vancouver. And they've reiterated that several times this week, publicly and privately. And I don't believe in any way, shape, or form Miller is asked to go. And, you know, just the other thing I wanted to touch on before the end of this update, Trevor Zegras. I think there's going to be a further examination on Monday, and that's going to determine how long he's going to be out for.